In Port Hawkesbury, there's a new face on the Municipal Council. His name is Jason Aucoin. He launched his first ever municipal campaign back in the spring, and he finished with the second highest vote total of any of the council candidates running in Port Hawkesbury. I caught up with Jason Aucoin just outside the Port Hawkesbury Civic Centre earlier this week. Let's hear what he has to say about his victory. And we're here in front of the Port Hawkesbury Civic Centre with a fellow who's going to be seeing a lot more of this place over the next little while, the newest face on Port Hawkesbury Town Council, Jason Aucoin. Jason, thank you for joining me on Telile 24/7 and congratulations on your victory.
Thank you, Adam.
This was your first municipal campaign, but you announced back in the spring that you were running, so you've been mulling this over for a while. What can you tell me about the thought process in deciding to run for Town Council this time around?
So, Adam, about 4.5 years ago, I considered running in the last election, but I was away working too much. Didn't have the time to dedicate to it. So in March of this year, I finally made the decision that I would run. I had a conversation with Margie Pace back in March, and Margie told me that if I was going to run, she would be interested in being my agent. And that was the final support I needed to make my final decision.
So with all that preparation and with your desire to run for public office and serve the community, what was it like on election night when the Port Hawkesbury results finally started flowing in and you realized that you had made it to Town Council?
Well, I was actually at the Civic Centre witnessing the count, the paper ballots, and it was a little nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie. So once the results come in officially, we heard that Blaine was the deputy mayor, and then my name came out second, and I was very surprised by that. I was just hoping to be able to squeeze it in fourth place, but more than happy to accept second place.
I'd like to talk a little more about that because, as you just mentioned, you got the second highest vote tally of any council candidate, and as we were setting up for this interview this morning, a couple of guys drove by and honked their horns and hollered their support at you. What does it mean to get Port Hawkesbury's appreciation and support at this point?
Well, I tell you, it's very humbling. I wasn't expecting to get the numbers I got by any stretch of the imagination. I think that my hard work for my long campaign has paid off. I safely say I've knocked at least 1,200 of the doors in Port Hawkesbury during the campaign and got my door knockers on every other door in town, to the best of my knowledge.
You've worked very hard during this campaign, and now that the campaign is over, I'm wondering, what are the day one or day two priorities for Councillor Jason Aucoin now that you've been elected to serve on Port Hawkesbury Council and you're going to be sworn in November? What are the big priorities for you after that all takes place?
So I think one of the things that everybody knows about is the housing issues in Port Hawkesbury. But I think it's important that when we look at getting these houses built, the housing units built, that we look at affordable housing and, more importantly, accessible housing. And the second thing that's really on my mind are the water bills for the trailer courts in Port Hawkesbury, because they pay a flat rate, which is higher than most houses. So I think that's something that we need to look at as a council.
Jason, you're joining a Port Hawkesbury Town Council with a lot of seasoned veterans, including Mayor Brenda Chisholm-Beaton, just re-elected to a second term. Councillors Huey McDougall and Mark McIver were first elected in 1994, and Blaine McQuarrie was elected in 2018. Are you looking forward to getting together and collaborating with a team like this on Port Hawkesbury Town Council?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking to lean on the four names you've just mentioned, because obviously they have a lot more experience than I do in municipal politics. So I'll be looking for some guidance, but at the same time I'm going in with my own views, my own opinions, and I believe that the five of us will work very well together as a team.
Throughout this municipal election campaign, we at Telile 24/7 have been asking municipal candidates about leadership, and specifically who inspires them in terms of their own leadership aspirations and just basic public service and community service. So now that you've been elected to Town Council here in Port Hawkesbury, Jason Aucoin, I'll put that question to you. Who inspires you in terms of leadership and simply wanting to serve the community?
So I get my inspiration actually from Alberta to start, when I joined a union in Alberta and I became a job steward. Then I sat on a board of directors for a construction local of 25,000 members, 2 years as a vice president. So that really opened my eyes up to politics of sort. It may not be municipal politics, but it's still politics the same. And I have a lot of respect for our current mayor and our council. So I will be leaning heavy on those people in town to guide me down the right path.
And we've been wrapping up all our post-election interviews by giving the candidates the opportunity to thank all those who supported them during this election campaign. So, Jason, as you prepare to take your seat at Port Hawkesbury Town Council, tell us, who would you like to thank?
Well, for starters, my family to support me right from day one. My girlfriend, Rhonda, to Margie Pace, my campaign manager and agent. We had some other people in the background help me with my social media, making sure that my commas and periods were in the right spots. And just to the people of Port Hawkesbury, when I was going door to door, people were more than welcome to open the door and speak to me and let me know their concerns and their visions of the town. And I think it's important that the residents of Port Hawkesbury need to know that I feel they are my boss. That's who I have to answer to, and we have to take their concerns forward.
We've covered a lot of ground in a short time, Jason, and I appreciate you taking some time for us. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
All I would like to say is that the town residents can contact me at any time. I'm available, I'm accessible, and my phone number is 902-623-0015, and I look forward to hearing from the residents.